Ever worked on a system where creating object is painful? If every new object feels like filling out a government form, the prototype pattern might save you hours of headache. Hey developers, welcome back to my channel. This is Code Like a Senior Dev episode 6. If you're enjoying this series so far, make sure to check out earlier episodes right here on the channel. We have already covered factories, singletons, and other patterns that will make your code cleaner and your life easier. As enterprise developer, we often work with objects that have a lot of parameters. User profiles, report templates, workflow definitions, and every time you create a new one, the setup feels like assembling IKEA furniture. The prototype pattern says, instead of rebuilding this thing from scratch, just clone something that already works. But before cloning becomes your best friend, you need to understand shallow versus deep copies. Shallow copy. It copies only top-level elements. Nested objects are still shared. It's good for small, simple objects, and it's potentially dangerous when the objects are multi-layered. Deep copy. It recursively copies everything. It's slow but safe, and it's perfect when object must be completely independent. Alright, we're going to build a simplified report template, the kind you might find in an analytics dashboard, a reporting engine, or even an internal tool that your team uses. The idea is simple. Users want to clone an existing report, tweak a few fields, and keep the rest of the configuration consistent. So let's build this step by step. I'm going to start with two classes. The first one is report template and the second one is data source. So the report template has three things. It has a title, it has a data source with the name source, and then it has a list of recipients. These are extremely common in reporting systems. So right now it's a pretty standard model. But the interesting part comes next, when we create the clone method. So I'll write a public method that returns a report template and I'll call it a clone. So the purpose of this method would be to create a clone and send it back to the caller. Now, the prototype pattern works by giving each object the ability to clone itself. And in .NET, we start with MemberwiseClone, which gives us a shallow copy. But shallow copies aren't always enough. So we use a shallow copy as a foundation and then deep copy the parts that actually matter. So in our case, I'm creating this new data source by reusing the information that is in the current object source. Same thing for recipients, and then we return the clone. Next, let's create the actual report template object. Okay, so I'll get rid of this. This is from the previous exercise that we did in earlier episode. So now what I would do is I'll create a actual report template object. So that's how we do it. All right, here is our base report. This is the template everyone on team trusts. The query is solid, the recipients are correct, and everything works. Now imagine a user wants a slightly different version of the same report. Maybe they want to add themselves as a recipient or they want to change the title. Instead of rebuilding everything from scratch, we just clone the template. So that's how we do it. We clone the base report. Then I just change title. That's it. No rebuilding the data source, no re-entering the connection string, no recopying the recipients by hand. Everything comes with the clone. And now let's prove the clone is independent, meaning the deep copies we created actually do their jobs. You see that the titles here are different. The recipient list was cloned and then the regional manager was added to the list. And the original list itself, that is the base one, remains unchanged, which means the prototype pattern works exactly as intended. Use the prototype pattern when you need to duplicate complex configurations like API gateway policies, workflow templates, dashboard configurations, pricing, or rules engine, anything with more configuration than logic. Don't use it when your object graph is massive and deep copying everything is slow or confusing. That just defeats its purpose. So that's the prototype pattern from a perspective of a real-world developer. If creating new object feels like paperwork, controlled cloning might be exactly what your architecture needs. This was episode 6 of Code Like a Senior Dev. If you found this helpful, smash that like button, subscribe, and check out the rest of the series here. Thanks for watching.